We'll go ahead and call our Benefits and Insurance Committee meeting for the October 12th, 2019, into session. Mr. Priest, if you would, please call the roll.
Pebble Acton, Rhonda Allen, Andrea Anthony, here. Doug Bodery, here. Amber Brown, here. Shay Crowell, here. Alan Farley, present. Mary Hickerson, here. Lois Miller, here. Alan McAdoo, Jeff Phillips, Shantae Sherrill, Eric Tutobeni, and Bill Ketchern.
The chairman detects a quorum. Now we can conduct our business. We'll go members to, I'll ask for approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve and a second. Motion to approve the minutes as mailed. Any discussion, questions? Motion to approve was there. Any other questions? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, motion carries. Next on the agenda, members, we have item number 2, financials. Director Elam, you're recognized.
Thank you, sir. On our Fund 266, on the first graph you see by year, for current from January 1 till current, you'll see $56,325,223 in revenue, and expenditures at $643,441 in expenditures. So, and then if you move on to the fiscal year, you have in revenue $10,553,744 in revenue, and expenditures is $20,022,753. If you move over to the tracker on the next page, for your current year, the difference, if you look to the far right, total revenue over expenditures, you have $1,681,781.57 for your revenue less expenditures. And if you look at the very bottom in the month of September under the fiscal year, you have revenue for the month of September $84,148.19, and expenses are $6,935,212.55. And when you look at the difference for the fiscal year, it is a negative $9,469,009.01. Keep in mind, again, you have the school boards that do not pay in the month of July and August, and so you have a tendency in the fiscal year to play catch up. That's the 264 fund. Any questions, anybody? Okay, move on to the 266 fund. If you look at the graph, your first graph, you see in July, I'll remind you when we changed our property and casualty vendor, their third-party administrator claims were not paid in July. So if you see the trend for August and September, you see an uptick, because, and I would expect that should start leveling out in the month of October. If you look at your tracker on the next page, year-to-date 2019-2020 is $114,702.39, and compared to the prior year of $133,106.35. And just for a footnote, of that $114,000 plus, year-to-date, the workers' comp is approximately $51,000, and the OJI is $63,000. OJI being about 55% and the workers' comp being about 44%. And again, I'll remind you, the workers' comp, we have not had workers' comp in over 10 years, but these are continuous claims from those injuries. Any questions?
How many workers' comp claims do we still have open or cases? Is it so many?
We have 6.
Okay.
But that number does vary because sometimes somebody will pass away, or you may have a closed claim and then they have an injury occur, which opens it back up again. But we've been running, I think, about 5 or 6 pretty consistently.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And that's, if you look at that number time after time, that's a pretty high number per the number of claims. That's it.
Conclude your report.
Mr. Chairman, yes, sir.
Is there a motion to accept the report? I have a motion, Mr. Phillips, Commissioner Phillips. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Lois. Any questions, discussion on acceptance of the financial report? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, motion carries. Next, members, we'll move to the Workers' Comp OJI stats and OSHA report from our Safety Director, Mr. Good. You're recognized in the well.
Good afternoon. In the month of September, we had a total of 34 injuries across the county that required medical attention, that being to include the Board of Education and the County General. That 34 brings us up to a total for the year to date, year being January 1st through the present, to 203 total injuries. OSHA recordable injuries, the total is 137. To be OSHA recordable, you have to have an injury requiring a prescription, a restricted day, or a lost time day. So of that 137, for the year to date, we have 65 that have had restricted days, and you see the total number of days lost for that. We have had 26 injuries which required employees being out of work, and then we had 46 that are considered other recordables, which would be prescription causing them to be recordable. On the next page of your report, you'll see there that we had 203 by this time this year. Last year we had 199 at this time, and then 2 years ago where we were 2 years ago. The next page of your report, what we try to do is try to list the incurred dollars. That's an estimate of what the dollars are going to be to close out those injuries that we have to date. At this time, we're looking at $375,000 as of the end of September. This time last year, it was $376,000, and 2 years ago, it was $440,000. Always remember on those incurred dollars, if injury requires additional treatment beyond what the initial assessment is, then the incurred dollars go up. If a injury closes out below the estimate, then those dollars are obviously taken out of the incurred dollars, and it closes out lower than that. Last page of the report, we tried to do a breakdown of where those injuries are across the county. You'll notice that 25 of the injuries were with the Board of Education. We had 9 in the County General, none in the Highway Department, and then underneath the County General, we listed those different departments that had injuries for the month. That's all I have at this time. Are there any questions?
Any questions, further questions from Mr. Good?
I have a question. Mr. Good,
Farley.
on your breakdown here, you have categorized there, but have we looked and drilled a little deeper to see what type of jobs, classifications, whether it be, is it people who are working in building, maintenance, construction, or trying to pinpoint, in schools, is it teachers? What's the occupation of most of our injuries, I guess, is what I'm looking at.
It kind of goes across the county as a whole. For example, if you look at the county general, we're going to find detention officers or sheriff deputies are going to be a proponent, or EMS. Those are the two big ones. You'll get a slight increase or something will happen in PAWS where they're dealing with animals, and of course animals are always unpredictable. When you look at the school system, you're going to see that it's going to be your education assistant and teachers that are in the classroom working with the students. There's distractions working with the students and trying to maintain that. You're going to have a few in the custodian and also a few in food service.
I would say that strain and injury would probably be our biggest category where we seem to have the most.
We look at that every year and continue to upgrade it. The biggest things that we have are usually the two biggest causes are strains. Strains comes from people lifting things, garbage bags and things like that, and trying to do it. In fact, we were just discussing it earlier today. You'll take a garbage bag, you try and lift it up, and you lift it up above your shoulder to get it into the trash dumpsters. You're going to get a strain if you're not careful on the things that happen with that. Heavy lifting will also cause the strains. Slip, trips, and falls are always the second biggest thing that we have. So we always look at trying to educate people on slip, trips, and falls and strains.
Other questions?
Do I have a motion? Thank you very much.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept the report. Motion to approve the report. Second? All right, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Next, we have the wellness update. Mr. Chapa. You're recognized, sir.
Hello, everyone. So currently, for the Motivate Me system, we are sitting at, for the annual physicals, we're at 1,912 completed. Biometric screenings, we're at 4,045. Health assessments, that's the online health assessment at mycigna.com. That's 2,917. Mammograms, we're sitting at 953. OBGYN screenings are 1,637. Colon cancer screenings are 334. Cervical cancer screens, 1,380. Prostate exam screens, 394. Flu shots, 1,965. And then to date, currently, we're sitting at 4,629 individuals that have completed all of their incentive requirements. So that's earning the 3 points for that premium reduction. So previous meeting, we've been asked to kind of break that out as a percentage of the total population. So the eligible population that needs to complete this in order to earn their incentive is 6,447. So that puts us at about a 72% completion rate as of right now without any scrubbing or going through and looking for errors or anything like that. So just what is sitting in the system alone is at 72%. So I expect that number to go up a little bit before we're all said and done. We go out to the fee schedules and things like that. So we're on track. We're doing quite well this year, so I'd say those numbers will improve quite a bit. That said, last Friday we had a chance to have our annual wellness fair. I want to say a huge thank you to all parties involved, Cigna, Mercer, a huge shout out to OIT. We could not have accomplished what we did without their assistance and maintenance as well. They were imperative to that, and also all of the other listed departments there. Some of the numbers that we saw from the fair, so the St. Thomas Mobile Mammography Unit was out there where they were able to complete 15 appointments on site. The St. Thomas Mobile Health Unit was out there as well, so they were able to complete 20 appointments, so biometric screenings, some annual physicals on site completed there during that time period. The on-site enrollment section that we were running, they were able to get 53 employees enrolled on site, and then we saw several in addition to that that were able to answer questions about enrollment. We had the Cigna and Mercer teams out there able to answer any things that came up during that time period, and then several appointments were made follow on for this week to see and to help employees with their enrollment like that. So really successful in regards to that. Also, PAWS, we had a PAWS canned food drive and materials drive. They're actually able to get quite a few treats and things for the shelter, and in addition, they raised $95.68 in donations for the shelter as well. So that was a really good, unexpected turnout for that one as well. So that was an excellent. All in all, we saw, and we've had a few people slide in through the sides of the fair, but we're looking at about 600 to 650 participants this year at the Wellness Fair. But with that said, that completes my report.
Okay, thank you.
Did your staff have a target for the enrollment?
As far as being able to, who all we could enroll and things like that. And Ed, do you want to kind of?
Well, it was our first year, and some people say it's never been done, some people say it hasn't been done in a long time. And so, you know, when I look at the success of it, the building was already there, our staff was already going to be there, so when you're looking at the financial cost of it compared to what we look at, in this number right here that you see that's 53, that's the people that sat down and came in contact with somebody from our team. There was a lot of people that came in that you could just answer a question real quick, so we saw a lot more than just 53 people. What I guess when I'm trying to base on the success and looking for a number, we had nothing to go by because it hadn't been done before. And what I look at is we started at 2:30 receiving people, which it didn't start till 3, but people came in. And by the 6:45 was when our last person walked out the door. And during that time frame, we had people sitting in chairs waiting, and at the Wellness Fair, we had Cigna there, we had every vendor there. So some of those people would go from one vendor to another and then finally end up with somebody from risk management to help them with their enrollment. What I did see is that the people, and you're also providing a time outside of their normal work hours. You know, our hours is like 8 to 4:30, and this was 3 to 7. So again, you're providing a time for people instead of having to take off work to come in and talk to us. But the biggest thing that I noticed out of the open enrollment when people came in was that you saw the stress on their face, and you could tell I've tried to work through this. I don't understand it, or I just really don't know what to do. And when they sat down and they went through the whole process, and then when they got up, it just felt like that they had a burden lifted off of them. And so many of them would walk away and they'd say, man, am I glad this is over with. I've been worrying about this ever since Chuck came out to my school, or y'all came to my department and started saying all this, and I just needed some help. I just needed a little bit of guidance or help educate me. So when I look at the success with the number of people we had there, we never had an opening to where there wasn't somebody coming to every table and everybody there. And so I look at it in comparison to the entire plan. 53 is not a lot of people. But in a 2-week period where you have annual enrollment, those people are either going to have to take a day off work to come into your office. They're going to tie up a lot of time as far as helping them, because most of them are very unique situations. And even some of the people, their medical needs has changed. At one point they're on the right plan, their medical needs change, and then they look at a different plan to say, I think this plan better caters to me. I know that's a long answer, but I'm just trying to explain, how I looked at the success of it. I think every team member, after it was over with, felt really good about those people that they helped throughout it, and in trying to provide that service to them to make things a little bit better and easier for them to understand. Insurance, as we all know, it's difficult. I mean, it really is. So next year, I'm hoping we have more. But if we don't, and we're able to help the same number of people, then I'm happy with it, because it's a service that we tried to provide that hadn't been provided before, at least in a good while, from what I know. And I thought it was a good success.
So we'll use this one. We'll kind of take it as a learning experience, move out from there.
I received a lot of feedback, positive feedback, that people really enjoyed it. The ones that were walking around, they certainly appreciated it. And I remember John Black from Airport Authority, Director of the Airport Authority, he was just so relieved, like you said, and just to get it done over with and get it off his plate, because like everybody else, they wait till the last minute, and then they worry, and then can't get on the computer, and the deadline's getting ready to run out, and because everybody's jamming at the last minute to get on, and it's going real slow. Lois?
Do I have it on? No. Thank you, sir. Chuck, can you tell me what the book of business average is for the programs that have the
Total engagement, as far as that. So market norm is typically 50% or below. So we're well above a market norm for Cigna as a whole. So we have.
stole my comment. I wanted to,
Gotcha.
at this point, I think it's really important to make, is that all of the effort that you and Lee and the department have put into the wellness programs and the education towards them and getting people involved and engaged has led to this absolutely stunningly positive result. And hopefully then will also feed over into people's daily habits as they're learning more about their health and how to manage it.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions for Chuck? Okay.
You all?
Thank you, Chuck. Is there a motion to accept the report?
Motion to accept.
Motion to accept? Okay. And a second? Is there a second? And we have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed, motion carries. Next, we have Lee Smith. Lee, if you would come on forward, and all anticipated, we've been waiting to find out, did you know? Next month, you want to did you remember? Yeah.
Today, I hope everybody knows, because I'm going to talk about open enrollment. So we are in the middle of it. So just want to remind you guys, and also so you can assist your staff or direct them to us if need be, just a few things about open enrollment. So why is annual enrollment important? Well, it's your one time a year to make changes to your benefits if you need to. And then once you choose a plan, you kind of have to live with it for the next year. So it's important just to kind of go in, look, see what you have. If you're anticipating any needs changes, any health plan changes, any medication changes, you might want to reevaluate for this year. After you lock in that plan, you can make changes throughout the year for what we call life events, so marriage, divorce, adoption, or birth of a child. So those would be the only reasons that you can make plan changes mid-year. So another reason, just important to make sure you're on the plan you want to be on for the year. We have some resources for you. So everyone should have received their open enrollment book, which were mailed out. If you have any staff or anybody in your department that did not get one of these, please have them come see us at insurance department, because we have plenty if somebody didn't get one. So that outlines all the plans offered by Rutherford County. And then, as Chuck talked about, we started open enrollment or annual enrollment assistance at the wellness fair, and we'll continue to do that in our offices. You can make an appointment, you can come in person, phone calls, emails, all of that, and that will last until November 1st at noon, and that's when open enrollment will shut down. So super important that everybody knows that's when the changes need to be made by. A few more resources for you. So we have videos that were done by Mercer. They did a great job. These are posted on the website. So if you have employees that still have questions, we have videos about open enrollment, about the medical plan, about the dental and vision plan, and then one about your flex spending. So if employees have questions about that, it's a good place to point them if they don't want to come into our offices. As well, all the benefit summaries for all of the plans that we have are listed on the Rutherford County website. And in addition to the resources in our office, you can always call the number on the back of your Cigna ID card, and you can be assisted 24/7, 365 by one of our One Guide team members. So just to help your staff, and you guys know that we're here to help you. in any way we can. And then lastly, and not least importantly, I'll say just encourage your people to go in and make sure they have the correct beneficiary in the system, because we're seeing a lot of people who, like we've met at schools and departments, and we'll check their beneficiary and they're like, oh, that's my ex-wife. Well, that's probably not who you want as your beneficiary. So just important this time of year, just kind of go in and make sure that all that information is up to date. And that is your Did You Know? Any questions for me? Yep.
Thank you, Ms. Smith.
Thank you.
Mary?
I just have a comment as she goes off. I want to go on the record of thanking Ed, and we had 4 or 5 others out there with us this morning at 6:45 a.m. at my department, and they kind of get a little snippet and reminded everybody about the open enrollment. 2 of the ladies sat there with their little appointment books, took down some appointments for everybody, and answered some questions. So I just want to, every once in a while, it's good to get an attaboy, and I definitely want to give it to the Risk Management Insurance Department, because they come out bright and early this morning, and Lee and Chuck was there, and a couple of other ladies. So I do appreciate it, and making special for the departments that are just not an 8 to 4:30 department. I appreciate you coming out there and helping us out like you did. So thank you.
Yeah, Ed said he had to go to bed at 6 o'clock last night so he can get up and get out there. Okay, next members, we have MedPoint report, Shannon McNair. Mr. Chair. Yes, Ed?
I don't think we brought anything up about Amada. I just wanted to quickly,
Yeah, go ahead.
while she's on her way up, come on up. I just want to mention Amada went through all the committees and went through the full commission and was approved. I know sometimes something leaves here and it doesn't get back to you, like where, if you didn't track it, where did it go? Did it get done? So I'm trying to bring it back just for your information to know that it was approved.
Commission did approve that. Okay, you're recognized.
Good afternoon, everyone. If you'll open our MedPoint report that we have in front of you there, we'll start off on page 2 with this month at MedPoint. For September of 2019, I want to first say, you know, as Chuck and Lee have already mentioned, the incentive deadline was September 30th, so a lot of these numbers reflect, we'll get down to the biometric-only visits, knowing that that deadline was happening this month. September 30th was the deadline to get the biometric screenings and physicals and flu shots that we can help the members with in the clinic. So for provider visits, and that's where they come in and see a provider for a reason. They may also get a flu shot or a biometric, but they have to see the provider for this one. We had 889 visits. Medical assistant visits, that's like lab only or injections, this is separate from the biometric only. So if they needed labs for an outside provider, or they saw our provider but they weren't fasting and needed to come back to complete labs, that kind of thing, it's in there. It's at 263. Normally we see that less than 50, but we have a lot of flu-only injections in that number there. So that's why that's up a little bit this month, because we made the flu shots available as of September 7th. Biometric-only visits were at 1,061, and again, that deadline was September 30th. We did hold walk-in biometrics every Saturday from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. at our Blackman and Walter Hill clinics, and then they could walk in on Monday through Friday at Blackman and Stewart's Creek from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. and at Walter Hill on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Fridays from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. as well. Occupational health visits were 6 for last month. Wellness visits were at 41. So total face-to-face clinic visits, that's those face-to-face encounters, were at 2,260 for the month of September. Below that, you see our non-face-to-face encounters. These are those touch points that are not there in the clinic. So orders only, this could be medication refills, or if we've got some sort of imaging results and we need to send them for further imaging or diagnostic testing, we can do an orders only and communicate with the patient and let them know about that. We had 177 of those. A communication encounter, that would include a telephone encounter, or if we message them through the patient portal. One of the good things with the patient portal is that patients have they can see their lab results fairly quick through the patient portal, and so sometimes our provider will message them through that portal to let them know your results are good, we'll see you back, when you need us, or in 6 months, whenever they're due again, and they can communicate through that portal, and they can get that really quickly. And we had 404 of those for September, and then results review with letter communication, and you'll see that those are pretty high at 881, and that's because of the biometric screenings being increased as well. So we review those individually by our providers, and we send those out to the member. The next slide is just going over our walk-in flu shot clinics. We are right in the middle of that. We started this week. We have Blackman and Stewart's Creek are Monday through Friday this week, October 21st through the 25th, and next week, October 28th through November 1st, from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. And at Walter Hill, it was this last Tuesday on the 22nd, and again next Tuesday on the 29th, from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. I did want to mention also that we did the flu shots at the health fair last Friday, and we gave 243 flu shots at the health fair. So we were pretty excited with that number, considering we started giving them earlier this year than we have in years past. Next slide has my did you know? So I just wanted to ask and put out there, we have gone mobile with our MedPoint Wellness, and so we want to thank Mr. Elam for allowing us to use a private office there in his office in the Insurance and Risk Management Building. Our registered dietitian and wellness coordinator are starting to come on site there in his office one day of the month. It's going to be the third Tuesday of the month. And have appointments, one-on-one appointments with the registered dietitian and wellness coordinator. So it offers a little bit of a more easier accessible site for people who maybe can't get across town to the clinic. So I'm happy to say our first one was the 15th of October, and we had a great turnout. We had 16 available appointments, and we had 15 of them booked. So it was a great experience. We're very excited to be able to partner and offer that for the members of Rutherford County.
And if I can interject for that just a minute. It basically started out as a pilot program to see, is there interest here? Is there enough people here? Where our office is located, if you just throw a net around 2 or 3 blocks, there's a lot of county employees. So we just tried to make it to where on their lunch break or something, they could come in, provide them a place to do it. We're not going to say that it's just going to be on the third Tuesday. If we continue to have a demand for it, then we will look into some additional days if we think that that's what's working and we're beginning to see the results. And people keep following up one after the other. So I hope it is successful, and I hope we have to insert some more days, and we're more than happy to provide the space.
I did want to mention on the bottom of that slide, there is the email address of my wellness coordinator. If any of your team members are wanting to set up an appointment, they just need to email Hillary there at the bottom, hillary.keene@premishealth.com, and let her know that they're interested in doing the MedPoint Mobile Wellness. And even if they want to come to the clinic, that they can also reach her that way to schedule an appointment on site at the clinics.
Any other questions? Mary?
Of those 15 booked appointments in the insurance office over there, would those have been some that would have normally went out and seen the wellness lady, or have we picked up 15 new ones?
I think 2 out of the 15 were previous patients for our wellness team. They said that this was more convenient for them, so they came to the pilot site. But I know that some of them were previous patients, but it wasn't accessible for them anymore. It was difficult for them to get across town, so they stopped coming. They didn't have the time, and since it was brought here, it was more accessible to them, so they started coming back. But I think only 2 were current patients, so the rest were not active with our wellness team.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
We've got some more, and we're not taking away. There's still more there, and we've got more. So
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Other questions? Okay, go ahead.
Well, I do have one more thing. If we want to turn to the appendix real quick, this is just trending month to month, the numbers that we've already gone over. It's on slide 6. So you see the graph there. We see the expectation in September. That rises like that every year with the incentive program deadline. Any questions about that increase. Okay, the next page is page 7. You'll see that this looks a little bit different. Ms. Allen asked last meeting about a per employee per month, and even if it was on quarterly, I went ahead and added it back in. I went back to January, actually I went back to October of 2018 and added that in there. So employee count, that includes the retirees that are eligible to use our clinics, and took our total operating costs and divided that out to a per employee per month. I will say for September of 2019, total unique members was at 1,961. Total operating cost was $254,095. You'll see some little asterisks there. We did have the flu clinic, the flu immunizations, and the supplies that were included in those operating costs, and those were right under $25,000. So that's why you see that increase there. Total employee count there is 6,199 for a per employee per month at $41. And then the last slide is just our incoming calls at MedPoint. We had 3,181 incoming calls, so that averages out to 138 per weekday. And again, expected, knowing that the deadline with the incentive program, we tend to see those numbers go up. And then the last thing I wanted to mention, I just wanted to let the committee know that Dr. Tansy Dooley is no longer with the MedPoint Clinic, effective Monday, October 14th. We do have Dr. Rebecca Smith, who is working in the clinic. Our priority is our members, making sure that they can get in and get scheduled and be seen with her, because I know a lot of members like to see a physician. And so she's pretty much working the exact same hours Dr. Dooley did, so there's no disruption in care. And so if anybody asks, they can schedule an appointment with Dr. Rebecca Smith. So she's still going to be at Blackman on Monday and Wednesday afternoons, and Tuesday and Thursday at Stewart's Creek. Okay.
Sorry. They were not, the phone calls were not being answered at the MedPoint Clinic.
Right, so we have been working with Mr. Elam on our phone system. What we found was how many rings it was ringing before it went to voicemail was too long. So we made the adjustment initially to decrease the amount of time before it would get to voicemail, because we have one person that is dedicated to the phones, and then we have 2 other people that serve as backup pretty much to allow to answer those phones, but they're also the same people that check in patients in the clinic. So we have 1 dedicated phone person and then 2 that are also in the clinic working and checking in visits and things. Working with them, we have decided, and we have made the adjustment recently, to ringing for 45 seconds total before it goes to voicemail, and then we have our team checking voicemails every hour, except for during lunch, obviously, and returning those phone calls throughout the day. We've made another change since then to try to just improve the functionality to where it rings to whoever's not on the phone first out of our 3 people, and then it rotates through to the other 2, and still within 1 minute they're to voicemail. It's right at 45 seconds and they're at voicemail, and we continue to check the voicemails every hour and try to call them back. I will say that a lot of times we do get voicemail boxes not set up, so if they do leave a voicemail and we're calling back, we understand they're at work and we're sorry, and we try to reach out to them. But if they want to shoot us an email as well, medpoint@premishealth.com, that's just another opportunity for them to reach us. So we're here to serve the members of Rutherford County, and any way we can do that, we're here to help them. Thanks. That concludes my report.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Smith. Is there a motion to accept our report? And a motion? Is there a second? And a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed. Thank you, Ms. Smith. Motion carries. Next, we have Life Services and Employee Assistance Program. And Danny's going to do a little did you know. Mr. Williamson, you recognize.
Thank you. My name is Daniel Williamson. I'm with Life Services EAP, and most of you probably know the Employee Assistance Program is a counseling service for employees for the county. The last report they talked about flu shots, at the health fair. I think we did some stress management counseling on site for some of the kids that had flu shots there. But I want to talk about something else. Did you know that Life Services, in addition to counseling, we have a legal benefit? The counties are entitled to one initial 30-minute office or telephone consultation per separate legal matter at no cost with a network attorney. We have about a half dozen attorneys in the county in our network. And they can talk to that attorney, the employees can talk to that attorney about any number of issues. And I'm going to go over just some of those. There should be a handout that was given to you that have these, or this benefit in it, but I wanted to go over some of the examples. First of all, they can do consumer or civil issues. They can talk about retail transactions, warranties, or other product matters or issues related to those consumer matters. The lawyers can also do a consult for criminal matters, including both defense of misdemeanor as well as felony criminal acts of all kinds. They can help with estate planning. They can consult in preparation of will, living will or living trust documents. And so employees could get that, all the questions they have, and go in for that free consult and pretty much finish out that. They also can help with financial matters, including bankruptcy representation and defense of lending-related legal issues. They can answer questions involving immigration and naturalization, including green cards, U.S. citizenship, work and student visas. They can also assist the employees with negotiation with the IRS. They can help with personal, and this is probably the number one most used part of this benefit, personal and family legal services, including adoption and guardianship, custody and support matters, divorce, separation, and annulment issues. And they can also help with real estate legal matters, including the acquisition or sale of real property, leases, or rental agreements. So those are just some of the examples of what employees can talk to our network attorneys with, either on the phone or face-to-face. And I always tell people to try to get all their questions ready and get everything prepared for that 30-minute consult, and then they can walk out of there with, with no bill from an attorney, which is a minor miracle. There's no obligation to use the attorney past the 30 minutes. They can use the attorney, and if they do, there's a 25% discount from the stated rates that the attorney has. But again, there's no obligation, and our network attorneys are not they are not to upsell or try to sell beyond that benefit for the employees. There are matters that they cannot help with, and this is important. They cannot and they will not help anything related to their employer with the county. And so if a county employee wants legal help with that, we cannot help with that for obvious reasons, a conflict of interest. So just wanted to let you know about that. We have a lot of other benefits we'll hopefully be talking about in the future. Ed's kind of invited us to come and do these Did You Know, and I think it's great. Any questions about the legal consultation benefit through Life Services EAP?
May I ask one quick question, if I can, Chairman?
Yes, sir.
How long has the county been using your service?
We've been since 2009, I believe.
Is there a comparison that we can see from year to year as to your performance and how many employees are using that, graphs, percentages? Is there any way you could present us with some type of report?
Absolutely. You talking about for the legal or for all of the services?
Everything.
We can do all of it, yes. That's an extensive report, and we do quarterly reporting with HR and with risk management. We can prepare that for this meeting as well, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm not prepared now to give you the differences, but hoping we'll get a boost from it after today.
Has that ever happened, Ed? Do you know, has they ever presented us with any type of performance gauge?
As far as for the committee, not in my 7 months, and no.
You have any problem with him doing that?
No, sir.
Yeah, we'd love to do that.
Could I make the request that that happen?
Absolutely. Any other questions? Thank you.
Got one question.
How how would an employee start this process? Do they notify, I mean...
Thank you. I'm glad you asked that. I should have said that at the very beginning. All of our services, our counseling services and the legal services, you access it by calling a toll-free number. And the number's on all the brochures and handouts and wallet cards that we give to all the employees during enrollment. But that toll-free number, basically, they'll call that same number they would if they were getting counseling, and they would say that they're wanting a legal, and then they'll be warm transferred over to our legal partner, which is Consolidated Legal Concepts, which is on the form here. But we want to make it easy, so there's just one number for them to call and access. Our call centers answer 24/7, 365 by live voice. We never use computer automated systems. We always have live voice to answer that. So yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Any other questions?
Any more questions?
Thank you.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to say was, Commissioner Phillips is this is just, as you've talked before, educating people, and that's why we've brought them in, trying to educate everybody and on TV where these people can understand what services that are out there and have a better idea if they need help or they need, these services. They know where to go and what to do. And to your point, I hope that when we start seeing the reports, those numbers will increase, that where people will know, what additional services are out there for them that they had no idea.
I guess that's my point, is that this benefit probably should be used a lot more often in today's world. And if we're not utilizing it, we're not getting the benefit out of their services as an employer. And we need to, if we saw some type of a report card every month, we would know how this is being used, and if it's not utilized, what do we need to do to get the word out? So this type of a benefit could also be part of the management relationship with our employees from time to time. If they're struggling with something, there's a lot of help right here that they could get, in essence, free of charge. And as Mr. Williamson just said, it appears that nothing's free in this world, okay? Especially when it comes to legal advice, Mayor, as we well know. But this is something that could offer a tremendous help to people who are on a really tight budget or a fixed budget, and I just want to make sure that it's being utilized to the benefit of all employees. A lot of them probably don't even think about it when that particular time comes, but maybe we ought to see if we can improve that a little bit.
Real good point. Any other discussion? Is there a motion to accept the report? Motion to approve the report. Is there a second? Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed, motion carries. Next, we have on-site clinics, request for proposals. Mr. Brown's going to, Jay Brown from Mercer is going to, is he here? He's going to talk about, he was bent over. I lost you. You're picking your stuff up. Mr. Brown's going to talk about an RFP. Mr. Brown, you recognize.
We just wanted to acknowledge that we will be sending out the on-site clinic RFP the 1st of November. The contract expires the end of August, so for a September 1st next year contract period. And because this is a very important benefit to the county, to the schools, it takes a pretty long time to kind of do that. So the RFP will be going out 1st of November. We plan on doing a site tour of the on-site clinics in December. All the quotes will be due back the 1st or 2nd of January after the holidays, and then it'll take us a little time to compile all the information, and the goal will be to present those findings to you guys in the February session. So really just acknowledging that RFP will be going out. It'll be public notice next week or so in the papers and things like that. Any questions about that? So a lot more to come first of the year, but just wanted to let you know that that was going out if you have any questions about that.
Okay.
When this RFP goes out and this contract, is this just an annual contract? Generally, we do everything in threesies. Is this a threesie and then we can extend it one or two more, or is this a one that we can extend one or two to make a three?
This is the extension year, so this is the end of the contract with the extensions. Good question.
Okay. Thank you for the information. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Next, members, we have item number 11 on the agenda, Insurance and Risk Management Department Open House in conjunction with Human Resources. Mr. Elam's going to talk about this. Give us all the details.
Well, I just wanted to have an open house for everybody. I figured it'd be easier to do it prior to the insurance meeting. Everybody come down to our office. We'll have some finger foods, things like that, where, and just be able to see our facilities. If you haven't been there, we've got a couple of new members on the committee, and just kind of see, you know, our building and what our employees do every day. So, and with Human Resource up above us, I just thought, and they were very gracious. I asked them if they would like to go along with it, and they were just very excited to be included. So while you're there, you can see the Human Resource and the Risk Management team together.
One-stop shop.
Yep.
Okay. Any questions concerning finger foods? You want to know what type you're serving, or? No, just kidding. Okay, anything else, any other business to come before us today? Any old business? Any new business? All right, we stand adjourned.